Lee Zimmerman. We're here at the Shield Museum. I'm the live animal manager here, and today we're going to have our last creature feature in honor of Bug Week. Now you might be wondering why we're celebrating virtual Bug Week. Well, this Saturday, May 30th, was supposed to be our 6th annual Bug Day, and since we're closed, sadly, and can't see all your beautiful faces, we're celebrating Bug Week virtually. So there's lots of really exciting, awesome things about insects, bugs, arachnids, arthropods on our Facebook page. Please join us, please have fun with it, learn about bugs with us. So that's why we're celebrating and having a special creature feature this week, which we'll get to in a moment. Now, if you've been joining us on Facebook for virtual Bug Week, you've seen what is entomology, so the study of insects. You've seen what is an entomologist, so someone that studies insects. And because insect is in both those definitions today, we need to talk about what is an insect. Now, please feel free to ask questions throughout this video. If I can't answer them, we are very lucky this week to have two entomologists helping us answer questions, Dawn and Paula. So if you have any questions during our entire week, feel free to submit them. They're helping us answer them. They're doing an awesome job, and I'm so glad to have their help since I am not an expert at this stuff. So to answer the question, what is an insect? And hopefully you guys have answered on our Facebook page. But an insect is something like this bee here. Now, how do we know this bee is an insect? Well, first of all, anyone know how many legs an insect has to have? So if you got it, it has to have 6 legs. So if an animal that we think is an insect doesn't have those 6 legs, unless of course they lost one, it is not an insect. So they have 6 legs. Now, anyone know how many body parts an insect has to have? So they have to have 3. So they have a head, thorax, and abdomen. So this is our 3 body parts. That's how we know this bee is an insect. They typically also have 2 antennae. My plastic bee lost his. And then last but not least, does anyone know where their bones are located? So are their bones located inside their bodies like us? No, they have an exoskeleton or hard outer shell. So that's what makes this guy an insect. Now, we call our event Bug Week because there's lots of other things that we think of as bugs that aren't necessarily insects like our bee here. So to give you another example, we're going to look at a scorpion, okay? So let's see how many legs a scorpion has, and his pinchers do not count. So he has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. So since he has 8 legs, is he a bug? Or is he an insect? No, but we might call him a bug, we can use that term. So he's not an insect, he has 8 legs instead of 6. Also, does anyone know how many body parts a scorpion has? It's a little trigger. They actually have 2 body parts. So they have a cephalothorax and an abdomen. So spiders and scorpions are in a group called arachnids that have 2 body parts and 8 legs. Now, what do these guys all have in common, though, and why are we celebrating Bug Week? Well, our insects and arachnids are all what we call arthropods. So these are arthropods, guys, and basically an arthropod is something that has a hard shell, an exoskeleton, and has segmented legs, so just parts to their legs, and that's all that makes an arthropod an arthropod. So arachnids, insects, they're all arthropods. Shrimp, shellfish, other things like that, those are all arthropods. So if you guys were worried about eating insects, or like, ew, that's gross, you guys, if you've already eaten shrimp, lobster, crayfish, you're eating an arthropod, so something similar to an insect, so you're already kind of there. But that's what we celebrate with Bug Week. We celebrate all arthropods, anything that we find creepy and crawly. And we do that because we want you guys to get excited about them, understand why we need them, and to help protect them. They are important. And to talk about one arthropod or insect today in particular, our creature feature is going to be our Madagascar Hissing Cockroach. And everyone's super excited. Yay, right? So these guys we're going to talk about. We have Madagascar Hissing Cockroaches here at the museum on exhibit and in our education collection. So I have a live one for you guys. Give me a moment to get him out. He's actually hissing for us right now, so let's see if you guys can hear it. Okay, so that's how they get their name, Hissing Cockroach. Let's see if I can show you a little bit closer. If he wants to kind of hang out and not hide, but he might want to. So, okay, there we go. Okay, so our Madagascar Hissing Cockroach here. Now for starters, they make hissing noises. That's how they protect themselves. Now, how they do that, though, is different than a lot of other insects. If you think about, grasshoppers, crickets, things like that, they rub their legs along their body. That's what makes the sound. For our hissing cockroach here, there's actually holes or sphericals on the side of their exoskeleton that they blow air through, and that makes that hissing noise. Now, everyone have a guess, why do they want to make a hissing noise? Well, there are a couple of reasons. So, it all depends on if it's a male or female cockroach. So for starters, number one, protection. Male and females will make a hissing noise if they are disturbed in order to protect themselves, or to scare away predators. Because does anyone know another animal that might make a hissing noise? Well, you got it, guys, a snake, right? And do you guys think you'd run away from a snake if you heard something out in your backyard? Probably. So these guys hang out underneath leaf litter, wood, things like that, and make that noise, hoping to scare away predators. And they only live in Madagascar, so don't worry about it, you're not going to find them around here. So that's an island off the coast of Africa, so you're going to find these guys. So here to give you an idea, so this is the only place. There's a variety of habitats where they live, but they do think they live along the forest floor. So we got number one, they hiss because they're trying to protect themselves. Number two, males hiss, and they actually will fight each other. And typically the bigger male will make the larger hissing noise, and that'll be the one that wins. They use these horns on the top to actually run into each other, hit each other, flip each other over, things like that. So kind of like how deer use their antlers. So typically the bigger the horns, the louder the hiss, the more likely that male is going to win against its other male competitor. Now, something very interesting is that only the males have these large horns. Let me see if I can give you a close-up picture maybe. Okay, awesome. The females do not, they have little bumps. And that actually helps us out. You can tell the difference. We'll talk about why it's important in a moment. But our second reason is a dominance behavior for males to figure out their dominance. The third reason is for courting or mating. So males will make a hissing noise to try to attract mates. Our female cockroaches, louder the hissing, the larger the cockroach typically, and that seems to be a better mate or choice. So those are three reasons for making that hissing noise. Now, it's really important that we know the difference between a male and a female here at the museum, because female Madagascar hissing cockroaches are one of the few insects to give live birth. Now, do you guys know what insects typically do if they're going to lay eggs? They typically lay them in an egg case somewhere, leave it there, and walk away. Think about your praying mantis. It's going to leave it on a leaf and leave it there and walk away from it. Now, the reason insects typically do that is because that egg casing is probably safer off not on that insect that might get eaten. But these guys are one of the largest cockroaches in the world. They have ways to hide, ways to protect themselves by hissing. And so instead, what they do is they lay an egg casing, pull it back inside their body, and then later, a bunch of live babies will come out. So we do have a special treat for you guys. We're going to show you something. This is actually, I've only seen this one time in my whole 6 years working here. But be mindful that this might be a little disturbing. You are going to see a cockroach giving live birth. So if you don't want to look, close your eyes. It won't last long. Oh. Well, we'll see if we can try again. We try to start it. If it doesn't work, we will post it on our Facebook page later. So we'll give this one last shot, see if we can get it to play. Again, if you don't want to see it, close your eyes. Okay, here we go. So this is one of our females actually giving live birth. Now they are white because their exoskeleton hasn't hardened. They molt 6 times in their life, so they get bigger, and after that, then they are mature. So that's what's happening here. You're going to see lots of babies being born. So as I said, I've only seen this once in 6 years of working here, even though it happens. So you guys should be excited to get to see it. But that was a little sneak peek. So, okay, awesome. So you guys have met our Madagascar hissing cockroach. One other really cool thing I want to tell you about these guys is I'm going to let you guys see if you can look up close at their legs. He is hissing again for us. Can you see it kind of? Okay, awesome. So you guys had a chance to see his legs. Hopefully you saw that his legs are covered in little hairs. Anybody got to guess what we use those hairs, or what he uses those hairs for? And it's for climbing. So these guys actually can attach to anything, even glass, and climb up things. So we do have to use stuff. I'll show you in our carry they used to bring them up here. There's actually Vaseline around the edge. There's a Vaseline in their enclosure. That way they can't climb out and escape, because we wouldn't want that now, would we? So this is our awesome Madagascar hissing cockroach. He is an insect because he has those 6 legs and 3 body parts. Although you can only see 2 of those body parts right now. His head's actually hidden under his thorax. But before we finish up for today, does anyone have any questions for me? Okay, so let's talk about what do cockroaches eat. Now that'll help lead us into why they're important, because if you're like, ew, gross, cockroaches, I don't want them, I want to help you with that. 99% of cockroaches in the world do not want to live in our houses, and they have a very important beneficial role. So not like our American cockroach that lives in our homes, most species stay out of our homes, don't want to live there, and they help us out. And they help us out by what they eat. So does anyone have a guess what this guy might eat? I'll give you a hint. These guys are called decomposers. So anyone know what a decomposer eats? There's actually divided into two groups. So decomposers basically help break down dead or decaying material. So things like fungus are decomposers. They help break down things. But also there's live animals that help break down decaying material or dead material. And then we call those detritivores. So a vulture would also count, but these guys do that. Now, that's important because, let's see, first, do you want a lot of dead animals just laying around? Smelly, looking not probably very pretty, things like that. Of course not. Also, those things can carry diseases. So it's great to have things like our cockroaches here that are decomposers that eat all that material. So they'll pretty much eat anything that's decomposing. These guys in particular are a lot more like fruits and vegetables, but there are cockroaches that eat decaying wood. There's cockroaches that get into decaying animals. So these guys are awesome to have around. They help us out by getting rid of that decaying material that we don't want. Carry diseases, not good to have.
Do they come in different colors?
Okay, that's actually a great question. So these guys, the Madagascar Hissing cockroaches, can be anywhere from black to this pretty brownish color, all just depending on genes. So you can get these guys as pets. So people have them sometimes in their classrooms as pets because they are hypoallergenic, believe it or not. But you can get them in a variety of colors from anywhere from black to this very pretty brown. And it just kind of depends on the genes that they have. Okay, so another great question is, how did I get used to handling them? And I will be honest, when I started working here, I had not worked with these guys before, and I did jump when I picked them up and they would hiss at me. So I had to get used to the fact that that's their defense mechanism. They're not trying to hurt me. In fact, these guys can do nothing to hurt us. They can't bite us. They can't do anything else. And again, our hissing cockroaches don't even want to live in our houses. So he can do nothing to hurt me. He's probably more afraid of me than I am afraid of him. Although our cockroaches here are used to being handled. But that's what I remembered. So I remember that when I pick them up, if they're hissing, it's just, hey, I'm a little scared, make them feel comfortable, make them feel secure. And now I've gotten over it, I can stick my hand into a container full of cockroaches and help take care of them, clean them, feed them, etc. Another great question, I showed you guys how to keep them from escaping from our containers. That's actually really important. The USDA wants to make sure that these guys don't get out into the wild and cause problems. So we have to have that Vaseline or some sort of seal to make sure that they don't escape. And I think that's probably good for you guys too. If you're going to visit the museum, you probably don't want to see a lot of Madagascar hissing cockroaches everywhere. These guys can reproduce pretty fast, so I'm kind of happy we got a way to keep them from escaping, and we keep them in that container. Okay, two more questions, but if you still have any, feel free to jump in. What's the difference between a Madagascar Hissing cockroach and like our American cockroach? We've already talked about a few things. Obviously, they're a different color. They look different than each other. Our American cockroaches are smaller. This is one of the world's larger species. And again, our American cockroaches live in our houses. These guys don't want to live in our houses, but they do have a lot of similar jobs. If you think about our American cockroach, it does eat trash and decaying material, so it is doing its job. We just may not want it to do that job in our house. Okay, so
how long do they live?
How long do they live? Great question. They're not sure how long they live in the wild because yes, something could find it and try to eat it. But in captivity, they think they live 2 to 5 years. It's really cool too. The females only have to mate once, and then they'll just keep having babies throughout their life. So, any other questions? Awesome. So let's finish up like all our animals. Why do we have Madagascar hissing cockroaches as an animal ambassador? I'm sure you're wondering that. You're probably like, I'm still not, so keen on cockroaches. But just like Bug Week here, we really want you guys to understand the importance of all our bugs, insects, things like that around us. They do have a very important job. Our most diverse group of animals is our insects. We need them to help us with so many things. We'll be talking about the importance of insects later this week. So, make sure to look that up, chime in, let us know what you think. Why are insects important? Because we do need these guys. They're important to us. Without them, we wouldn't have things like blooming flowers. We wouldn't have a lot of the plants and fruits that we eat. And then we would probably have a lot of gross, dead, decaying material around. So these guys are really important. It's also awesome because I said they are hypoallergenic pets. So that means even kids that are allergic to rabbits or guinea pigs, or maybe they don't want to touch a snake, can touch these guys and it's completely safe. So it's kind of a cool animal to get people introduced and excited about science by meeting a cockroach. So thank you guys so much for joining me today. If you have any other questions, feel free to jump in. We'll try to answer them. Again, don't forget, ask all your insect questions this week and join us, please, for Virtual Bug Week.